Okay, we're back. You may notice that sound. I can't say sound quality, but I sound more upfront. I adjusted my settings. After watching a video or two, I realized that you could barely hear me over the game audio. But we are back. And so we're gonna pick up with 6.1. Let's do it. Also, you will probably notice that I well, you won't notice it just yet until I get into a fight, but I got my Mandervelius weapons. Or should I got my Mandervelius knives. It's my first set of Mandevalian weapons. I think the next one I'm going to get will be Bard. I love these too much for Dancer, so I might keep these and not get it for Dancer. I don't know how I feel about Monk. Oh, that reminds me, what level is Monk? 82. I'm thinking, yeah, he can get them, I believe. Ooh, I'm not sure. I don't know if I want the samurai sword. Like, this looks amazing as is. I love Dark Knight sword as is. I have no idea if I'm going to even continue with Summoner, let alone Scholar. Uh, yeah, Black Mage is just kind of there. Black Mage is just kind of there. I don't see myself playing Black Mage. I don't like the playstyle of it. And then there's Conjurer, which, oh my, I've gotta, yeah, gotta fix that. Yeah, Blue Mage. Yeah, Blue Mage is just gonna be Blue Mage. Alright, since I'm level 90 for Viper, let's just keep going. Shall we begin? If we are to spend the treasure wisely, we must first determine which groups would benefit most from monetary assistance. Some of my citizens may find it intimidating to speak with the satrap directly, so I would ask that you act in my stead. Sapphire, you are to visit Ak- Akiali and Yedli Yedlham Yedlnad. Speak with Matsia and his people and listen to their grievances. Estinian, I bid you do the same at Palakstan. I'll be conducting my own inquiries at Giant Skull's grounds. Have I been there? Once you believe you have ascertained the needs of the populace, we can reconvene at Megadolta. Megaduda. Yeah, and I've been working on Omega. Yeah, I will definitely be. I'm working on Omega. I need Omega 2 or Alpha Skate 2, 3, and 4 to finish. I was gonna look for something very specific, but what? I don't remember. Oh, food. Do I even have anything? I'll take it. Both of those need to be cooked. hoping to finish this. Actually, no, this is the first, I do kind of want to see if I can finish, 6-1. Because that's literally what this is. Matsuya. Oh, Sapphire, I was glad to see you had returned unharmed. You finished with the boat, then? Why didn't we come to him first? Anything the village desperately needs? Well, I suppose Kalzal's loss hit us the hardest. I've been trying to find buyers for my fish, and although I sell a few here and there, there's so much more. It is so much more difficult than it was before. Everyone's still struggling to rebuild their lives. For now, we're just banding together as best we can. I'm like, wrong house. Greetings and welcome, traveler. If it is your first time here to Thavnir, then you must try my special Almas Lassi. Its refreshing zest cannot be beat. I feel like I have some already. Could you... What could such a wonder cost, you wonder? Normally, I part with 3 bottles for a generous price of 19,800 gil, but for you, I'm willing to go as low as 10,000. You'd be practically stealing from me. Times are harsh, my friend. The world may no longer be on fire, but we are still sifting through the ashes, so to speak. Sister, spare me. We might as well have the ugly tower back for the scant travelers we see these days. I myself barely have coin to buy at local prices, I tell you. If I didn't charge the odd adventurer a small fortune for afternoon tea, I'd be scavenging for scraps in the street. Okay. That's the reason for the upsell. How fares the port? Well, it's in shambles, isn't it? The trade routes are open once more now that the danger is past, certainly. But no small number of merchants have had to sell their ships to make ends meet in the short term. Add to the Add to that the sailors we lost in the final days. It's little wonder the flow of exports are is no more than a pitiful trickle. If Kazal and his consortium were still with us, oh, that's right, he's the one that. Oh, I'm sure he'd find a way to turn our good fortunes around. Now that he was, now that he was a man who got things done, God rest his soul. That's okay. Where am I going? Okay, there's a lot of construction happening in my guild right now, jeez. Oh, my advisor's returned. I've just made it back myself. Why do you retain this vessel now that your true form is known? You could have just flown across the island in a fraction of the time. Be that as it may, sight of a massive creature, I was going to say dragon, descending from this sky can be startling to say the least, and there are a few places I can enter comfortably without risk of flattening cart, some sort, some cart or stall. Fair enough. As for my inquiries, people with Palak stands were unanimous in their reply. They are surviving. Resources were stretched to the limit when refugees were pouring in, but they preserved some assistance from Yildi, Yildamad. From what I understand, they have always been an independent community, hunters and foragers, and the like. And I was assured that the jungle provides for their needs, for the most part. Stan has weathered the disaster better than most, it seems. I myself heard good news and bad. The quarrymen were cautiously optimistic, having just sold a full wagon of giant skull to a foreign trader. But such visitors are few and far between compared to our best years. The weight of stone leaving Thavnir has been light indeed. Our nation is small and isolated, its prosperity dependent on a steady stream of exports. We must identify any obstacles to the flow of trade so we can begin working to remove them. Tell me, what did you learn in Akyali and Yildamad? I see. Without dedicated buyer, the average fisherman struggle to offload his daily catch, which is why I believe we should first address the lack of ships and shortage of able-bodied sailors in Yildamad. I am reminded of a child I spied as I made my way to the place. His father lost at sea when the beast sunk their vessel. So many variations of the same tragic tale repeated over and over. So many lives lost. Enough grief to drown in if we let ourselves be overcome, but we will not. Sapphire Estinian, I will consider the perspectives you've brought me and devise a plan to help my people confront this adversity. Come, I would like you to be in attendance when I announce the proposal to my assembled functionaries.
I thank you for your The treasure shall be sold for more convenient currency. Thence, invested into the trading port of Yedlamad. Our merchants must have their operations restored, their ships rebuilt. Commerce must flow once more. None were spared the tragedy of the final days. Of this, I am well aware. But an absence was created by the loss of Kalzar's consortium. And by filling it, we provide new means for our fishermen, our artisans, and others to bring their wares to distant markets.
And what of the children who were left without family to care for them?
That is a concern which weigheth heavily upon my mind. A simple gift of coin will soon be exhausted, leaving these young souls adrift on the fringes of our society. Nay, a proper solution is needed, one which doth guarantee their welfare for years to come. Thou hast surely seen how other nations rise to meet this challenge, adventurer. What dost thou deem the wisest course? Of course. We must all look out for one another. Let us put this idea into practice. A contract shall be written, requiring all who receive of Al-Zadar's treasure to commit a portion of their future earnings towards the running of an orphanage. Now, such an influential policy is deserving of a worthy name.
In that time of strife, any one of us could have broken. Any one of us may have been taken by despair. When I think of Kalzal, I feel no hatred. Only a stinging regret that we could not save him as well. Isn't that right, men?
This bodes well for that boy. Murad, was it? Perhaps he can cut ties with that shady peddler.
Then let it be done. Henceforth, this initiative shall be known as the Kalzal Foundation. Nabdeen, thou art to assemble a patrol and ensure that no child in this city liveth in squalor. Clerks, see to the management of our funds and make haste. Our citizens must not suffer a day more than is necessary.
Dragon and man, side by side in pursuit of a brighter morrow. Reminded of Ishgard.
Let's see. Nope. Nope. I guess so. That'll be it. What is it? Tomato. Okay. Bum 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 bum. Alright. Thank you for putting forth Kazal's name. Those who live, those whose lives he enriched will take comfort in seeing his legacy honored. You will forgive me for not speaking sooner, but I bear a message from Archon Y'shtola. She's asked that you meet her in the High Crucible at your earliest convenience. Understood. Thank you. Y'shtola must have finished her studies of the Void Gate. Shall we hear what she has to say, then? I will go with you. I thought the satrap would be too busy setting up the foundation. My clerks have been well-oiled cogs of this administration since before Ahiwans assumed the office. They understood what needs to be done. And I am curious to learn what conclusions your Archon have reached concerning the gate's unique construction. As you wish. Allow me to lead the way, Your Excellency. Not exactly sure where I'm going. Nope. Other way. This is almost as bad as when I just picked up the, I forgot I can't fly in here. This is almost as bad as when I picked up Praetorium, like, last night. And everyone got turned around. I didn't because I'm so used to doing Praetorium. But the group I was with got turned around, and I'm walking towards the elevator, and everyone else is just like, wait a minute. Oh, we came from that way. Oh, okay. Turn around and come back. It was kind of funny, but it makes sense because of how it was designed.
Right, here we all are.
You discovered something new.
I took a closer look at that device. I was able to determine how it keeps the Void Gate sealed, but not how it might instead be employed to expand the opening. For that, I would need to reference the technique developed by Vritra's alchemists, no records of which appear to have survived the intervening years.
We know this, so why have you sent for us? Have you learned aught of value or not?
Patience, good sir. One must introduce the subject before launching into specifics. From what we understand, travel between worlds is accomplished by passing through the nebulous rift which exists between them. Picture, if you will, the moment you were called to the first. You touched a focus of some kind to help the Exarch pinpoint your location. His summoning spell then channeled the energies of the Crystal Tower to begin your journey to his world. The magics tore a hole in the wall separating source and shard, and cast you into the intervening nothingness. In that place, the laws of nature hold no sway. Yet even through this realm of temporal and spatial instability, you were borne safely to your destination in the first. The feat that guided you across such an unimaginable distance, both physical and metaphorical, was nothing short of a miracle.
Then what of the many voids and found in the source? Who guides them here, and how?
An excellent question. Though there are several methods by which the Void's denizens might intrude upon our world, the rituals of summoning are the most typical. For example, let us consider the Gargoyle, a creature of middling power. To call upon such an entity, the prospective summoner must force open a void gate. The portal lasts but a moment and is relatively small, allowing only an imp or other lesser being to squeeze through with their physical body intact. Our more powerful gargoyle, however, is too large for that. Creating a gate big enough for him would require vast amounts of energy, far beyond the reserves of any one mortal practitioner. Instead, 'tis far more common to bring over only the entity's soul. We had a taste of that ourselves when a certain Exarch dragged us to the first. And just as our bodies remained in our world, the Void Sense physical form is left behind in the 13th.
Okay. Oh, interesting. And thus the soul goes into the statues.
Once at its destination, the summoned soul is granted a temporary shell to inhabit. In the gargoyle's case, a stone effigy has proven a suitable vessel.
Wait. You said that Voidsent must be called here deliberately by someone in the source, reeled in like a fisherman with his catch.
Exactly. For a being to navigate the chaos of the rift, with or without form, there must needs be a guiding agent on the other side.
When the hordes poured forth from Alag's Great Gate, it was the technologists who drew them through. Though to my knowledge, planar fissures are in essence natural passages between our world and the void, which require no such guidance to traverse. Why is only the boundary between the source and the 13th so fragile? So much so that it often tears open of its own accord.
I believe solving that mystery is key to understanding travel between the source and its reflections.
And how do you intend to get your answers?
No, the danger is too great.
Perhaps. But what some call danger, others think of as adventure.
Oh boy. Ishtola, what are you getting us into?
Were you not listening to my tale? Never mind that the means to expand the gate has been lost to the ages. Even could you force the portal wide enough, you would be greeted by an army of murderous horrors the very instant you step through.
I assure you I was most attentive. And I agree that to go alone would be certain death. But if I were to bring along one who has already braved the 13th and humbled the cloud of darkness, well, I imagine my chances would be much improved.
That look.
Since when were you one for the quiet life? Once again, I put my life in your ever-reliable hands. That said, as much as I would like to march straight back to the Void Gate, there is the small matter of being unable to open it without the Satrap's personal authority.
What, are we guilting the satrap into
As I
doing it?
said before, I will grant you and yours any boon you choose to name, provided it does not endanger my people.
You have my word that we will take every precaution. Not a single void scent will be allowed to threaten Radzatan, assuming we manage to expand the portal in the first place.
You have a plan.
Actually, I had hoped you might help us with that. I presume the alchemists you retained supplied you with some explanation of their methodology.
That they did. House Daimir was overseeing the project.
Daimir. Ah, yes. The family associated with the great work.
I did not fully comprehend the theory, But their research began with a void scent which had slipped through the fissure. After a thorough examination, they created an arcane simulacrum possessed of similar qualities. A man-made void scent, if you will. It was apparently indispensable in their efforts to enlarge the gate.
A man-made void scent.
Yes. Being great admirers of the Archons, House Daemir submitted detailed notes to Charlene's official committee. They expected praise and accolades for their simulacrum, and were thus devastated to be informed that their work had been classified as prohibited material.
If that's true, then those notes might still be stored in a forbidden archive somewhere. Not Google, of course, since that library had yet to be built. Which leaves us with... Indeed. Numenon's restricted stacks may very well hold a copy. In which case, I say we head directly to Charlene.
Unless you anticipate needing help to reach the high shelves, I see myself being of little use. Go on ahead. You'll need to find Mirad and tell him about the Kalzal Foundation.
Let us be on our way as well.
They are resolved to venture into the void. Do I sit idly by?
Okay. I'm like, where is Estella? She's already at the Right Plaza. If we're to enter Nomenon's restricted archives with a minimum of fuss, then we must secure the permission of the Forum. First, however, we need to enlist the cooperation of a member to broach the matter of fact on our behalf. Who do you think would be inclined to assist us? No one springs to mind? Probably the Leviers. Or, yeah, Scholar Monty would work. He did come to Graha's defense during the inquiry, after all. To settle, let us head to Phenomenon and see if he's willing to help us once more. Wait, I could just teleport there, right? Ah, visitors, and quite esteemed ones at that. What may I do for you? Pray forgive the sudden intrusion, scholar, but we were hoping you might help us secure permission to enter Nomenon's restricted archives. Oh, no foretory forays into the stacks this time? Eh, I applaud this newfound sense of propriety, yet in all this wide world of comparative serenity, what so compels you to disturb the vault of forbidden wisdom? Fascinating. I had no idea such a technique existed. I would have been surprised if you had. If my assumption is correct, the research left behind by House Damon, Damier, has lain dormant in Charlene's archives for many centuries. And if you unearth his research, then what? Surely you don't intend to over into the void. Well, precisely. That is, in fact, precisely what we intend. To what end, pray tell? To develop a method of traversing the rift for one, that I might keep my word to a distant friend. Sentiment aside, I have journeyed to the end of existence. I have heard, felt, and thought endlessly about the truth of our world and the echo of its future. And yet, I want to understand everything, to unravel it all down to the very last secret. What scholar worthy of the name wouldn't force open a void gate or two if a grand revelation was the promised reward? Marvelous. An audacious proposal worthy of Master Matoya herself. And after hearing the whys and the wherefores, I, for one, do not believe you would use the knowledge for ill. I see no reason not to present your request to the form's consideration. Although, your petition would be better received if you also had the support of another well-placed acquaintance, the Leviers. Yeah. Why, Master Fortuno, of course. He can hardly ignore the earnest request from his dear children's most treasured comrades. I was hesitant to approach him directly, but there is no denying that having Master Fortuno on our side would tip the balance in our favor. Very well, we will pay a visit to the Levier estate and plead our case. Ah, one last thing before you go. I would consider it a personal favor if you might share with me the discoveries you make in the void. My appetite for knowledge is very bit as insatiable as yours, I'd wager, so if you could see your way to indulging an old man's curiosity. Of course, scholar. We will be sure to pass on any revelations. On to House Levier. Well, well. Emilians would invite you inside for tea, but I assume this is not a social visit. You have some matter of importance to discuss. Then pray proceed. You have my full attention. Well, I suppose I should praise you for following the proper protocols this time around. Scholar Monte expressed the same such sentiment. I assure you, will not attempt to circumvent the form's authority again, unless it is absolutely necessary, of course. Of course. You do understand that the restricted archives are restricted for good reason, yes? If no pressing need exists, then why risk the consequences of employing this forbidden knowledge? For a brother who misses his sister, she was his guardian and his friend, a selfless hero who crossed the rift between worlds to save her homeland from horror and suffering. But the brother was given up on thoughts of reunion. He spends his efforts elsewhere, watching over people, yet healing from the flames of the final days, loyal to his duty while betraying the longing in his heart. 'Tis no vital mission, perhaps, reuniting these siblings, but it feels a worthy cause to pursue all the same. As one who feared losing his own loved ones and spent years in research to prevent it, surely you appreciate how painful such a separation must be. Ah. Playing on his sentiments. Love it. Reflections are still very much a mystery to us. Offering to share your experiences in the first should constitute a fair exchange for our cooperation. Do not celebrate just yet. The form still must be convinced. I will add your request to the list of today's deliberations and deliver the decision to you at the Baldessian Annex. Charlene would be nice to have, like, housing on, but I know it's a small quote-unquote island. Like, but you do have all these extra locations you could easily build upon. So what did the forum decide? To put it bluntly, Master Matoya has burned some bridges here in Charlian, and salted the earth for good measure. When it became clear that her student was the petitioner in question, well, no few members voiced their dissent. Then the chamber was reminded, in no certain terms, might I add, of the incredible debt we owe you and your companions. And that served to silence the grumbles and stiffen a few spines, and it was agreed that allowing you entry to the archives was the least we could do in return. Nice. That's wonderful news. Thank you both for speaking on our behalf. Yes, well, as I'm sure you're aware, this permission was not extended lightly. Forbidden knowledge is to be treated with the utmost caution, and there will be repercussions if it is not. I wish you well in your endeavor and bid you good day. Ever the same, that one. Uncompromising eye, but the very stoicism is exactly what Charlian needed to guide it through not one but two exoduses. Well, that went rather well, I think. As a child, I dreamed up any number of schemes for getting my hands on those forbidden tomes, and now I can simply walk through the door. Our focus will be finding House Damir's research notes, of course, but the thought of so much knowledge at my disposal has me feeling a little giddy. Jeez, that was only the second mission? I have 3 more missions to do. Ugh. I don't like getting materia for a gift. You'll be heading directly to the archives from here, I presume? You presume correctly. Then you'll want to speak with the index page when you arrive. It's been instructed to grant you access to the restricted section. Excellent. Once again, we thank you for all your help. Oh, it was my pleasure, believe me. May you find the knowledge you seek. Shall we? I forgot the Loporits are still on Earth. Or Etheris. Now we get to go to an area I've actually never been. Oh, I hate when they do the font like this. It hurts my brain.
If House Damir's notes are to be found anywhere, it will be here. Let us begin.
Have something you'd like to show me, do you? My apologies, I flipped open but a single book and was completely absorbed by the contents. Well done. Sapphire, I think you may have found our prize.
Yes, the ether signature is unmistakable. I've felt the traces of House Damia's resonance many times at the Great Work. Time to see what all the fuss was about. Among the ranks of the Void Sent, there exist entities with the power to call forth their brethren from beyond. The species known as Atomos, however, is uniquely prodigious in this regard. From its distended maw, it can expel an endless procession of void-born creatures, a talent which sorely tested the Radiant Host in its battles against these abominations. Surmising that the entity itself was acting as a void gate, we endeavored to capture a small specimen and subsequently examine its physiological structure. Our findings revealed that the Atomos had absorbed a planar fissure into its own flesh, which it could expand at will into a functioning gate. Upon further analysis, we identified an ethereal wave pattern emitted during this process. A pattern we were able to emulate by passing crystal-stored ether through a specially designed prism. We proceeded to embed said prism into an arcane simulacrum, thus completing what we have dubbed our artificial Atomos. How could I have been so blind to the possibilities? This species, not to mention its ability to summon Void Scent, has been discussed among academics for years now. Just before the advent of the 7th Umbral Calamity, we received reports of Atomos sightings from every corner of Eorzea. Surely you've at least heard the tales. And still, House Damia went and built a mock Atomos of their very own. I'm not surprised the Archons consigned their work to a restricted archive. It was no easy task, but at last we've unearthed the volume we've been searching for. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted to stay longer. See what other forbidden titles might be lurking on these shelves? Ah, but that would be abusing the very special privilege we've been granted now, wouldn't it? Better not.
As much as I would love to start crafting in the Atmos, I fear this is far outside my field of expertise. Fortunately, we know a Hanish alchemist who would be delighted to involve herself in our House Daimir project. Our business here is concluded for the moment. Please pass on our regards to the form. Your message will be conveyed. If anyone can help us, Nidhana can. I say we return to Thavnir and look for her at the Great Work. Ishola tells me you're pursuing a most fascinating study, and that you want me to be a part of it. I have no doubt you will be interested. This research log should speak for itself. Will it now? By the sisters, this is the mark of House Damir. I never knew such a work existed. Few should. It was sequestered in the Nomenon's restricted archives, after all. It was? But that means every word within is forbidden knowledge. A forbidden tome filled with forbidden research, and you put it right in my unsuspecting hands? I can hardly wait to read it. To think the Daimir were developing such marvelous techniques so long ago. How many inventions have been lost over the centuries, I wonder? Now that you glanced over the notes, what say you to help us build a mock Atmos? I say yes, 1,000 times yes. Working on a Daimir project that had even the redoubtable scholars of Charlian trembling in their sandals. No alchemist of the great work could resist. You are a woman after my own heart. Oh, I suppose I should ask, what do you mean to do with this big mouth simulacrum once we've built it? So, there's a secret void gate, and it's sealed in the ruins at the bottom of the bounty. Today is a day of revelations indeed. If the purpose is our man-made Atomus is to expand this hidden portal, then I will need to see it for myself, I think. Manipulating rift spans apertures is not the sort of thing you want to attempt without first taking into account every single factor. Then by all means, accompany us to the vault. I plan to lead us back there shortly, once we finish gathering the components I require. Charlene's markets provided the raw aquamarine and pure water crystals, but I might need help obtaining a small quantity of astrally infused water. Such a liquid you need to go farther than the fount of Maya, the ascetics of old once favored the place for their meditations, and the water which pools there now is known to enliven the aether flow. That sounds perfect. If you would be so kind to fill a flask at the pool, I will petition Vitra to join us. The idea I have in mind won't amount to much without his authority to command the Void Gate. Shall we be about it then? We meet back here anon. Where am I going? It's probably a place I've actually been to, I just don't know. Yes, I know exactly where I'm going now. As I'm in the water. Do you have that flask for me? Yes, this should suffice. Thank you, Sapphire. I think most of these will be useless to me. What is it? Yeah. So I can just sell off everything. Unless I want it for something else. Look who I came across. Estinian seems in need of diversion, and we, in turn, are in need of his lands. Right then. Now our little party is assembled. Let us make our way to the ruins. We will need... We will have need of Mansia's boat again. Not this time. Once Ishola informed me of our destination, I arranged for a vessel to be made ready at Akiali. Your Excellency is ever the gracious host. Shall we? Oh, this is exciting. Azalda's legacy. To see the truth of a legend with my own eyes. All aboard for the treasure vault.
The ruins alone were impressive enough, but I never dreamed such a treasure lay hidden in the depths of the bounty. It may have been helpful to know this device existed, Your Excellency.
My apologies. The gate was a secret I shared with none but my closest advisors. I feared for what might happen should those with ill intentions learn of its existence.
What is it you're doing now?
There's something I wish to verify. The NOAA reports claim that a short stint into the void carries little risk of etheric imbalance. Should one suffer an injury, however, or if one's expedition drags on longer than intended, that risk becomes significantly greater. Graha theorized that a warding scale would confer protection from the void's corrupting influence. But I would prefer to test that hypothesis before we set foot in the 13th ourselves.
So, this is an experiment of sorts.
Yes, an experiment. Tell me, how would you go about testing the efficacy of the warding scale? Very good. I see you've been paying attention. As Vritra sent his simulacrum, so too shall we rely on a familiar to bear the brunt of any unpleasant consequences. Now, a lowly imp can navigate a fissure, no matter how narrow. Which means an arcane entity of similar stature should be able to manage the same. I hadn't wanted it to come to this, but no other familiars will do, I'm afraid.
I mislike the sound of that. What manner of fiend does she mean to summon?
From ocean rise and cloudbank form, from mountain spring and rainfall storm, from river flow and life be born. Water, water, froth and foam!
Ready your arms. I fear she's been possessed.
Oh, come now. That is adorable.
Though not my first choice, these familiars I conceived of as a child have the best chance of fitting through the gate. I only wish my younger self had considered a more dignified ending to the creation ritual.
Oh my goodness.
In any case, these two should serve as well. This one will bear a warding scale. And when they return from the 13th, we can observe how the talisman, or absence thereof, has affected the progress of the Void's corruption. If I could impose upon you to open the gate. Your Excellency?
Ah, yes, of course.
We should also be wary of void scent slipping through while we conduct our experiment. Estinian, you are to keep Nadana safe from harm.
As you say.
You had best be on your guard as well. And we are glad for it. Let us begin, shall we? Nixies, into the void. I think we've waited long enough. Nixies, return to my side.
I was like, something's gonna come out. Something possessed it.
Thank you, little one. You did well.
The poor thing. Its essence has been irrevocably warped.
Close the gate. Oh boy.
We're out of time. I must reseal the void gate.
They're coming through!
In the name of Alzadal III, I bar this door unto the void.
I still think something came through.
Well, that was a sharp lesson in the dangers of void gates.
And what of our experiment? I'd say the results speak for themselves.
The unprotected Nixie has suffered extensive etheric corruption. As Nidana observed, it's well on its way to becoming a void scent. The one merged with the talisman, however, appears unaffected. I sense no changes to its equilibrium. Rest now, little ones.
Graha's theory was correct then.
So it would seem. But while our second familiar was untouched by void energies, the talisman itself shows signs of degradation. It was, of course, originally designed to shield the soul from primal tempering. It stands to reason that etheric corruption of a different sort would affect it differently. We may need to modify the warding scale's design to account for the 13th's uniquely unstable ether.
You've said much of the Void's instability, but my imagination fails me. What manner of place is this broken world?
Ah, my apologies. I forget that not all of us spend our days sequestered in dusty archives. The 13th is a reflection of the source that was drowned in a flood of darkness. In Emmett Selk's own words, this tragedy was a result of the Ascians' attempts to force a rejoining. They erred in their haste, and made of that world a useless void. You remember Unakalhai, the unusual child we met during our troubles with the Warring Triad. He explained the fate of the 13th thus. The champions of that ill-fated world used the stone known as Aurosite to contain the power of primals. But those self-same heroes were gradually corrupted by the Aurosite's bleeding energies, transforming into fiends with an endless hunger for ether. By the time anyone thought to oppose them, Light's strength had grown too feeble, and the balance of the 13th tipped into eternal darkness. It was Elidibus, as I recall, who rescued Unakalhai's spirit from his final battlefield. But I wonder if there were others whom the emissary saved from oblivion. Silver, the adventurer who traveled with the Warriors of Light. And you say she was another of Elidibus's pawns. I see. So Ciela, or rather Silver, was beguiled by the same dreams of heroism as Unakalhai. And what of your own experience? Will you tell us of what you observed during Noah's expedition? I can picture it now. The sunless, Stygian expanse, infested with legions of ether-starved monstrosities. A void in every sense of the word.
What you have described in such lurid detail is exactly why I hesitate to encourage you.
Worry not, great Vritra. Our journey into the 13th is but the first leg of a longer voyage. A voyage that shall lead us to other reflections, to new mysteries and discoveries. And I mean to be there every step of the way. But first, I must focus on refining the warding talisman.
Then I can begin work on constructing an artificial Atomos. Or I could if I had the relevant manuals to hand. Might I be so bold as to request access to the Satrap's family archives? Your Excellency?
Oh, yes. That can be arranged. I will speak to my officials upon our return.
We will see you back in the city then.
Once Nidana succeeds in replicating the Mach Atomos, the door into the 13th will be ours to open. Will you be crossing the threshold alongside us? I realize this is more my endeavor than yours. To be honest, I have no interest in visiting the Void myself. Might we discuss this later? There is something I must do first. Why does everyone insist on being so secretive? I at least had good reason for not wanting to explain my Nixie ritual. Shall we proceed with our preparations then? As we saw, the warding skill must be effective at protecting the bearer from other sources of etheric corruption. Nevertheless, the talisman's durability will need to be improved if it is to withstand the Void's influence for a prolonged length of time. And I think that is a problem we can address without involving the brilliant but busy alchemist who created it. Who do we know excels at this kind of structural augmentation? An excellent suggestion. As I recall, Sid himself is no stranger to the Void and its volatile energies. With his experienced hand at the helm, I have every confidence that the Ironworks can strengthen the warding scale. Come, let us visit their operation in Ralker's Reach and commission their best and brightest. Sapphire, what brings you to the Ironworks? We have a commission for you and your president, actually, assuming he's available. Master Sid, certainly. I'll see if he's free at the moment. A pleasure as always. I hear you have a job for us. Heading into the Void sent to find a lost dragon. That sounds almost pedestrian compared to your last adventure. Honestly, I don't know if you could say anything that would surprise me after Medion and that bloody mess. Alright, let's take a look at this talisman of yours. You said there were signs of degradation? It seems some manner of corrosion has set in around a scratch on its surface. Much of the Void's corruption seeped into Nero through his wounds, in which case our best bet may be to simply prevent the scales from being damaged in the first place. And how might we achieve that at? We have a coating agent for strengthening trinkets and the like, but I'd be wary to apply any compound which might upset the scale's delicate alchemic balance. Far safer to dress it in armor. Well, we'll construct a protective casing and utilizing metal alloys with high etheric conductivity so as not to impede the talisman's primary function. A suit of armor, you said. Nero has compiled data on the 13th, so I'll have him pitch in with the design just to be sure. If only it weren't such an ordeal to convince him to follow our safety protocols. I swear, I've never had such a reckless employee. In any case, we may need some time to untangle our particulars. Understandable. We know you're busy. We know how busy your schedule is, and the final result will doubtless be worth the wait. The Heart will be ducking Jessie and her consistent barrage of demands while we sneak about doing the fun stuff. We'll see what we can do. I think we can leave the rest in Sid's capable hands. Let's return to the great work and see how Nidhana is getting on with the Mock Adamus.
Hey, Stola. The adjustments are going well, I hope?
'Tis a lengthy process, but the end is in sight, yes.
That's wonderful news. I myself had some good fortune searching through the Satrap's private records. What I found was a transaction log dated around the same period as when Alzadal's legacy was built. It included a purchase list of highly exclusive alchemical components, and I knew I'd discovered the key to making the artificial Atomos. I then visited the High Crucible to commission the materials. After I'd explained my requirements, I was beset by volunteers insisting I allow them to help with the entire project.
The usual reaction to someone forcing open a void gate is to run for the hills. Harnish academics certainly are a different breed.
The alchemists of old were cut from a similar cloth. The unknown held no fear for them. Indeed, they were ever eager to seek new knowledge, regardless of the danger.
And were you not also fearless? Heedless even, in your determination?
My sire entered his dormancy before I was hatched. And so it was Ashdaya who kept my eggs safe and warm. It created a bond between us. Even long after I learned to fend for myself, I rarely strayed from her side. She was my guardian, my sister, my dear companion. And not a single day passes that I do not mourn her absence. No matter how deep the darkness, I would not surrender my search. I promised myself the time would come when we would once more take to the skies together. But I am satrap now.
The Radiant Host is here to serve, Your Excellency.
Nabdeen, what is this about?
Celestinian told us of your predicament. For centuries you have protected Rads at Han, never showing your true self, hiding behind a curtain and living only in service to the people. Your dedication meant more to us than your deceit, and so did we accept you as our rightful ruler. After all that you have sacrificed for this nation, did you imagine we would begrudge you your heart's desire? We survived the final days. We are a strong and proud people. We, the Radiant Host, will keep Thavnair safe in your absence.
I am grateful for your loyalty and for your encouragement. And yet,
Now you listen to me, Varshan. You are wearing that face, after all. As I have told you before, you are a little brother to us all. And if you are family, then so too is your sister.
Okay,
We are
that
there
makes
for
sense. I
you
was like,
if you
what
need
is
us.
going on? What is he
But do
hiding?
not ask us to sit by and watch while you abandon a sibling you have ached to rescue for millennia.
We will succeed in opening the way. It is only a matter of time. All you need do is prepare to step through to the other side.
Your Excellency, I wanted to thank you for building the orphanage. It means so much that my sister and I will have a place to be together, safe and happy. And I hope that you and your sister can be together again too.
take heart and protect them well. Such were the words I once said to you. And here I stand, failing to live up to them. If my heart is torn, I am fit to protect neither Ajdaya nor Radzatan. My people, I have come to a decision. Vashan will depart Thavnair for a time. My dragon self will remain in the palace, but only to conduct the satrap's most essential duties. While I am focused on controlling this vessel, there may be matters that escape my attention. I rely on you, my trusted friends, to watch over one another until I return.
Take care and fair fortune, little brother. Many tears would be shed should you come to harm.
I would not dare make you cry.
You surprised me, Estinian. For a lone wolf, you've shown an unusual degree of, shall we say, involvement in helping Vitra reach this conclusion. 'Twas for the greater good. The worm's thundering sighs were keeping his citizens awake at night, and had travelers believed the palace racked by some unnatural storm. What? What of your own answer then? You seem disinclined to venture into the void. When I was one with Nidhogg, his vengeful thoughts were my thoughts, his endless rage my rage, and a soul-chilling grief he nursed for Ratako, Ratak, Ratatosker's death. I would not wish such agony on one foe, let alone a friend or an ally. If there is a chance we can spare Vitra the pain, then I will follow you. Indeed, but perfect for our purpose, I should think. I'd rather not bother the Scions and aught less than a dire threat to the star. Now, on the specifics. Unlike the first, where the flood of light was halted before its devastation was complete, the 13th has been utterly submerged by darkness. My plan, as such, is to explore the void in stages, withdraw to safety after each brief foray. 'Twould be more convenient had we some manner of base camp nearer to the gate itself. One of the palace chambers should serve. Come, let us reconvene outside Magaduda. And away we go. I have a strange feeling I'm missing a video. I don't know. Oh, just realized what's going on. I was just like, I don't understand what's happening. Now, this come out to like 2 hours. It's getting there. Tap, tap. I always do that for no stupid reason. Alright, what do we got? And so we will require suitable accommodations. Might we make something available for our guests? All the chambers are presently hosting the great mounds of treasure we carried out of the vault. Once the Foundation's activities begin in earnest, however, we can redistribute the trove and make a room or two ready for inhabitation. Good. Please inform me when you've completed the arrangements. As you heard, we will have you settled in Megaduda in due time. As ever, you are most gracious, Your Excellency. You risk yourselves to aid me in my search for Asdaja. Providing comfortable quarters is the least I can do. I only wish we knew more about our destination. The gods only know how long our explorations might possibly take, or what our chances of success might possibly be. Succeed or fail, I am grateful to you for convincing me to make an attempt. On that note, I will return to the great work and lend what I can to Nidana. If your preparations to make ere we venture into the 13th, now is the time. All I need is my armor and my lance. Perhaps I'll train with the Radiant Host to pass the time before we depart. You know what this means to me, Sapphire, but my purpose need not consume you as well. We are headed to another world. Find what joy you can in the experience, for you are a traveler, an adventurer at heart. This I know. have completed 6-1.
And thus I am returned. To this world, bereft of saviors.
Okay, with that, we end 6-1. We have 6-2 to go, 6-3, 6-4, 6-5, and 6.55. I think this is going up probably around April. Until then, be good to yourself, be good to others, and watch out for each other out there. Laters.